Ken Houston had one football scholarship offer out of high school, and he was a ninth-round draft pick when he left Prairie View A&M. He turned into one of the top safeties in the history of the NFL.
Like you can tell, no kid, no. We felt like even though we didn't have the chance or the opportunity, that we could do it, and I didn't have any.
November 25th, 1979. A broken arm. After 183 straight games of being the rock his team could count on, Ken Houston's Iron Man streak snapped in a single brutal moment. It felt like watching something indestructible finally break. The reliable anchor of the Washington defense was gone, and their playoff hopes crumbled with him. But here's the truth. Defining Ken Houston by that one moment of tragedy misses the entire point. This isn't a story about a tragic end. It's about quiet dominance, the second legacy built not on a football field, but in the hallways of a school, changing the lives of children who needed someone to believe in them. Ken Houston is a first ballot Hall of Famer who completely changed what a safety could be, yet somehow he was known as pro football's most underrated superstar. That label followed him for years, even as his peers considered him the best in the game. How does someone so talented remain so overlooked? The answer starts long before the bright lights of the NFL back in the small town of Lufkin, Texas. Born in 1944, Ken grew up in a hard-working family. His father, Herod, owned a dry cleaning business, and Ken learned early that nothing came easy. He was the third of 4 children in a household grounded by hard work. At the segregated Dunbar High School, he was multi-talented, playing in the school band before his athletic ability took over. He excelled in both football and basketball, but when it came time for college, opportunity was scarce. In the segregated South of the early 1960s, doors were slammed in his face. Bishop College offered him a scholarship, then took it back. Only one school stuck with him, Prairie View A&M, a historically black university. That lone chance almost disappeared too. When his father suffered a stroke during Ken's junior year, he nearly quit school to support his family. Thankfully, he was convinced to stay. That decision changed everything. At Prairie View, Ken's coaches experimented with his position, even trying him at center before moving him to linebacker. That's where he became unstoppable. He earned All-American honors in the Southwestern Athletic Conference and helped lead the Panthers to multiple national championships. He also ran track and even joined the swim team, showcasing his remarkable athleticism across multiple sports. These early years shaped him in ways that would last a lifetime. Being overlooked, facing family hardship, pushing through uncertainty. It all forged a deep well of resilience that would define his entire life, both on and off the field. In 1967, the Houston Oilers selected Ken Houston in the 9th round of the draft. 213 players were picked before him. The Oilers moved the college linebacker to safety, and the decision turned out to be genius. By his 3rd game as a rookie, he was starting. 2 weeks later, against the New York Jets, he exploded onto the scene. He scored 2 defensive touchdowns in one game, one on a 71-yard return of a blocked field goal, the other on a 43-yard interception return. The league had just witnessed the arrival of something special. This wasn't just a good player making plays, this was a game changer announcing his presence. What made Ken unique was his combination of size, speed, and power. At 6'3" and 197 pounds, he had the long, fluid stride of a premier pass defender and the punishing tackling ability of a linebacker. He could cover receivers deep down the field, then come up and deliver crushing hits near the line of scrimmage. He could do it all. But what really set him apart was his ability to score. In 1971, he had a season for the ages. He intercepted 9 passes and set an NFL record with 5 defensive touchdowns. 4 of those came on interception returns, tying another record. In the season finale against San Diego, he returned 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the same game, tying yet another mark. It was a historic performance that showcased his unique combination of ball skills, instincts, and breakaway speed. A safety scoring 5 touchdowns in a single season is almost unheard of today. And what's the most impressive defensive season you can remember from any player? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories about football's greatest unsung heroes, make sure you subscribe to the channel. During his 6 years with the Oilers, Ken was a one-man wrecking crew. He racked up 25 interceptions, returning them for a franchise record 650 yards and a stunning 9 touchdowns. Add a fumble return touchdown and a punt return score, and he totaled 11 touchdowns in just 84 games. For a defensive player, that's almost unbelievable. After he was traded, he wouldn't score another touchdown for the rest of his 8-year career. The drop-off wasn't because his skills declined, it was because his role completely changed. In Houston, especially in the wide-open style of the AFL, he was a weaponized defensive rover, given freedom to take risks and create havoc. His next chapter would demand something entirely different, requiring discipline and consistency rather than explosive freelancing. Despite all this dominance, Ken remained underrated in the eyes of the public. The Washington Media Guide even even called him pro football's most underrated superstar. It was a strange label for someone so obviously great. Inside the league, everyone knew. He was selected to 12 consecutive Pro Bowls from 1968 to 1979, a record for a defensive back. He was named to All-Pro and All-Conference teams year after year, but the masses didn't fully recognize him yet. He played his early years in the less televised AFL for a team that wasn't always winning big. Plus, his quiet, business-like style didn't grab headlines the way flashier players did. He wasn't one to celebrate or showboat after big plays. He simply did his job with remarkable efficiency. Everything changed on October 8, 1973. Ken had just been traded to Washington in a massive deal that sent 5 veteran players to Houston. The trade itself showed just how valuable he was. On Monday Night Football, his new team faced their bitter rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Washington clung to a 14-7 lead with just 16 seconds left. Dallas faced 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. Cowboys running back Walt Garrison caught a swing pass and charged toward the end zone for what looked like an easy game-tying score. Ken read it perfectly. He met Garrison at the goal line with a thunderous hit, stopping him dead in his tracks, inches short of the goal line. The game was over. Washington won. In an era when only 3 networks existed, that one dramatic, game-saving tackle on the biggest stage in sports made Ken Houston an instant household name. Finally, the public saw what his peers had known for years. Ken joined a Washington team known as the Over-the-Hill Gang, a veteran squad full of legends like Charlie Taylor and Sonny Jurgensen. Coach George Allen had built a team defined by experience, intelligence, and a unique mystique. He knew that respect had to be earned. In his first season, he recorded 6 interceptions and recovered 5 fumbles, immediately becoming the defense's best playmaker. For the next 8 years, he was the unwavering anchor. His role shifted dramatically. He went from being a high-risk, high-reward scoring machine in Houston to a disciplined, intelligent leader who focused on eliminating big plays. His touchdown scoring vanished, but his elite ball-hawking skills didn't. He intercepted 24 passes and recovered 10 fumbles with Washington. He was named All-Pro or All-NFC in each of his first 7 seasons with the team, from 1973 through 1979. This change showcased his remarkable football IQ and adaptability. For over a decade, Ken Houston never missed a game. His streak of 183 consecutive games played was a core part of who he was, the reliable, indestructible anchor his defense could always count on. Playing safety, one of the most physically demanding positions in football, without missing a single game for that long was extraordinary. But on November 25th, 1979, during a road loss to the New York Giants, that streak ended. Ken suffered a broken arm. The injury immediately ended his season, placing him on injured reserve. The timing couldn't have been worse. The Redskins were in a tight playoff race. They would ultimately lose to Dallas in the final week, costing them the division title. Losing their defensive leader for that crucial stretch was devastating. Even injured, his performance that season earned him his 12th straight Pro Bowl selection, though he couldn't play in the game. For a player who seemed indestructible, the broken arm was more than just a physical injury. It was a symbolic end to his remarkable prime. He returned for one limited season in 1980, then retired from football. After retirement, Ken spent a decade coaching with the Oilers, the University of Houston, and at the high school level, passing on his knowledge to the next generation. But in 1990, he found his true second calling. He became a guidance counselor for the Houston Independent School District, a role he held for over 20 years. His focus was on the children who needed help the most: students in hospitals, those who were homebound, or kids placed in state care. These were the most vulnerable children in the system. His motivation was simple and humble. "Back then we had to work, so I became a counselor," he explained. But his dedication ran much deeper. After officially retiring at 65, he found he couldn't stay away. He returned part-time as a special education counselor at a charter school, drawn to working with younger students in whom he saw the future. This career choice was powerful. A first-ballot Hall of Famer could have easily chosen a life in the spotlight, doing television work or taking a high-profile coaching position. Instead, Ken chose quiet, direct impact. He channeled his own life story, that of a 9th-round draft pick from an HBCU who reached the top of his profession, into a message of hope. He understood that the students he worked with were often overlooked, just like he had been. His mission was to ensure they knew their own potential. He famously said, "They don't really know about my career. They know that I was a football player. They can't believe it. But I do talk to them and give them hope." And then he shared the core of his life's philosophy: "I want to let them know that if I made it, they all can." That simple statement captured everything about his character. Ken Houston's on-field legacy was cemented in 1986 when he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on his first ballot. He was later named to the NFL's 75th anniversary all-time team and the NFL 100th anniversary all-time team, honors reserved for the absolute legends of the sport. In 1999, the Sporting News ranked him as the 61st greatest football player in history. Over 14 seasons and 196 games, he recorded 49 interceptions, 21 fumble recoveries, and 12 total touchdowns scored in 4 different ways: interception return, fumble return, punt return, and block field goal return. Many, including longtime Houston Chronicle Chronicle writer and Hall of Fame voter John McClain call him the greatest strong safety in NFL history, a claim McClain insisted was not debatable. But Ken Houston's story is bigger than statistics and awards. It's about two incredible legacies that are deeply connected. The resilience he learned as an overlooked kid from Lufkin fueled a Hall of Fame career. That same career, marked by quiet professionalism, gave him a unique perspective. He transformed it into a second calling, dedicating decades to mentoring children who felt invisible, just like he once did. While his playing career was punctuated by a painful injury, his life's work was heroic. He was a quiet guardian, both on the field and off, proving that true greatness isn't always measured by touchdowns or championships, but by the lives you touch and the hope you inspire. Ken Houston revolutionized the safety position and then spent even more years revolutionizing lives. If you found Ken Houston's story as powerful as we did, leave us a comment with your favorite moment. And don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories of football's greatest legends.